Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
A very, very good day to you, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for taking time to join us here at the British School of Excellence. Today, we've got the most wonderful guest lined up for you. This amazing woman, this incredible lady, stepped through the doors of the British School of Excellence just over 8 months ago. A lady based in Denver, Colorado, part of the world that I would love to be in right now, because as some of you might know, I'm absolutely mad about skiing. I'm not there right now. I'm based here in the studio in the United Kingdom. Felisha K has the most incredible experience and a phenomenal history and journey through her life. It hasn't been all plain sailing. And Felisha has had to reinvent herself and really comes to the forefront with such beautiful guidance and steering when it comes to connecting with people, with relationships, with giving you these quintessential tools on how to work on your relationships. Because like everything in life, if you've got a motor car and you don't put gasoline in it, petrol or diesel, you will eventually run out and be stuck on the side of the road. And that's what relationships are about in every sense of the word, whether it be with our loved ones, our life partners, with our children, and with our friends and the people we work with as well. So everything in life is about investing your beautiful time, energy, and your connecting and communication with people. This evening, Felisha is going to go through some amazing areas when it comes to connecting on a better level, how we're going to be able to deepen our connections, the understanding of those incredible love languages and effective communication and action steps that we can take to enhance our lives and enhance those people that are in our lives. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Felisha into the studio.
Thank you, Philip. Great to be here, and thank you very much. I'm very excited.
It's a joy always. That smile just lights up any room, any screen, anything like that. It's just boom. It's lovely. Wonderful to see you, Felisha.
I appreciate that. Wonderful to see you as well.
Yeah, I'd love you just to share a minute or so just with the gorgeous audience and people engaging with us on this wonderful day on the 8th of February, because obviously we've got build up to Valentine's Day next Tuesday, the 14th. I hope there have been lots of organization from people out there making a good, hard effort to do something wonderful on Valentine's Day. But it shouldn't only just be Valentine's Day, obviously. But Felisha, just a little snippet of your background and your journey to where you are today would be wonderful.
Oh, absolutely. Hello, everyone. I am Felisha K, also known as the Luxury Love Diva. By trade, I am a cosmetic chemist, and I love everything luxury and beauty, formulating and science. In 2020, I had brain surgery, and that set me on this path to deciding that I wanted to serve at a higher level. Relationships is an area that I know very, very well. And I decided to become a high level, science based love coach, life and love coach. And I've been on this journey for really about 25 years overall, but professionally the past 2 to 3 years. And it's been amazing. I am CEO of the Luxury Love Academy, also Luxury Love Agency, which is my matchmaking firm. I am a high level matchmaker as well. And then I am also CEO of the LLC Suite, which is the Luxury Love and Confidence Suite, where Luxury Love and Confidence is your next level up. That is my coaching collective community.
Beautiful, beautiful. Wow, what an amazing brief, wonderful, straight to the point introduction. And I know I've got to know you on a fairly deep and personal level, and I know your journey has been absolutely challenging in many sense of the word. But the fact that you've recovered from that amazing operation and where you are today is just phenomenal. And I would love to, without further ado, really sort of just jump straight in if we can, and just if you would love to sort of start sharing with our audience some of the real ideas that can really deepen our connection with our loved ones.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is start with a slide. I have 4 slides that we'll go through, which are some highlights. So I want to highlight what we will be discussing. So we will be discussing 5 ideas to deepen our connections, why understanding our love language is important, and also effective communication and action steps. I have some action steps outlined here. One of the things I will say, and one of the things we should know, is that the key to strengthening our relationships is understanding ourselves on a deeper level. And that allows us to effectively communicate with our partner. Because when we understand what we need, then we can communicate that and have deeper connections, deeper relationships, and healthier relationships as well. And by understanding the dynamics and the science behind communication and empathy and trust as it relates to relationships, it allows us to develop some effective and amazing strategies to deepen the connections. And so if we can go to the very next slide, we will start with actually, it'll be a slide that is 5 ideas to deepen the relationships. This particular one is the love languages. So, well, yes, that's perfect. So, Philip, maybe you and I can actually have some dialogue around this. So one of the things I'll start with in deepening connections in a relationship, one of the great ideas is open communication. And we know that communication is the foundation for any healthy relationship. And that means healthy communication. So the first thing is open communication and spending time talking to your partner and listening to each other and sharing thoughts and feelings without judgment. That is very important. Not having judgment means that you are actually listening and not criticizing. You're listening to learn and grow. The second thing is set aside regular time each week to simply talk and connect without any cell phone devices. Technology can be a distraction, as we know. The third thing is show appreciation. So through gratitude and small acts of kindness, we can show our partner that we really appreciate them, leave a cute little note, send a nice text throughout the day. And the fourth thing is share activities. Sharing activities, that'll bring you closer together and really do activities that would allow your partner to share with you. For example, if they are better at something than you are, for example, I'll use me. My husband's a skier and I am learning. So this is an activity that we can do together. And it is really cute because he can help me and that helps establish trust. So I trust him to help me doing this activity because he's a lot better at it than I am. The very last thing is physical contact, holding hands, kissing, a massage, just connecting on a close level. And so those are my 5 ideas for deepening your connections. Philip, do you have anything to add or?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think something you really touched on right in the beginning part of those 5 points is that beautiful word listen. It's something that I truly know it takes time and energy and effort to build that habit into our lives, because I think a lot of us aren't good listeners. We might hear a noise, but are we deeply taking on board what that other person is actually sharing with us? And that is a really, really key ingredient in relationships, is to learn to listen, to understand, rather than necessarily just to respond. Hopefully we will respond, but often in a relationship, sometimes there might be more just I hear you rather than actual response. And I can sympathize with you and those sort of things. So for me, it is very much, and we learn as we go. We definitely do. I think we know that we all make mistakes. And I think something that I know that we talked about over the last couple of sessions and through coaching and training, Felisha, is incorporating that patience, that 6-second rule with one another, learning when to bite your tongue, and not allowing our mood to dictate our sort of connection with our loved ones. And we human beings, we make mistakes, and something can trigger you. And it happened to me a few weeks ago. We were going into London, rushing for the train, Kerry, Hardy and I, and she sort of just went ahead, and I literally managed to just get onto the train. And I don't know why it upset me, but anyway, eventually got through to the carriage. I said, "Why did you just leave me standing like that?" And as I said, I thought, why did you even bring that up? You're now together, aren't you? So we do pop. And immediately I did apologize. And I said, okay, I'm really sorry. I don't want to, please, you can't take it back. But just, she accepted the apology. So I think it's really, really important that we take on board what Felisha is going to be sharing with us right across the board. And I hope people out there, if you've got your pens and paper ready, pens and notebook, this will be able to watch again on rewind, and it will be there for you to take advantage of going forward. So again, Felisha, I'm going to hand back to you on this wonderful journey that you're going to be taking everybody on.
Well, you made a really good point with what recently happened. What I heard though is you were quick to apologize, and your apology was quickly accepted. That's really important. That's key. That's a big key. When we apologize, our partner, there are some partners, it's in an unhealthy relationship, they're not quick to accept. They're angry, they're bitter, and they don't move on quickly. So I love that, the idea of being quick to apologize and also being quick to accept the apology as well and move on. Okay, so did you have something to add?
Again, I think you also put something really in right there, is setting time aside, genuine quality time. And for us, for those of us who have children, we love our kids and they're wonderful to have around, but it's still not me time with my partner. And that is, it's something we really need to take seriously and take those moments of time together very seriously, whether it be going for a walk because you're both walking in the same direction, you're not facing one another, and you can just have an open discussion potentially about something that is you want to get off your chest, not necessarily that person, but just to understand how important alone time is and quality time is with no distractions.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. I could not agree more. And as we move forward onto the next subject of love languages, I'm very excited about this. Let's get into love languages with our next slide, and we'll discuss that. One of the things that's very important with the 5 love languages, I recommend that everyone take the love language quiz. It's free. There is a link in the chat. But what I mentioned earlier, understanding our needs is essential to forming healthy relationships. And so identifying which language works best for you is very important because it gives you an insight into what you need and also what your partner needs. And so there are 5 love languages, and we'll discuss these. The very first one, and there's no particular order. This is just the 5 love languages. So there's words of affirmation, and words of affirmation is expressing love through verbal compliments or praising your partner. The second love language is quality time. Quality time is all about creating meaningful moments and experiences together. And Philip, you mentioned that. That's why I'm so excited to get to the love languages, because you mentioned you have children, but it is very important to have that quality time and connect with your partner. That's key. Physical touch is a love language. It's about displaying affection, public, not necessarily public displays of affection, but affection, hugs, holding hands. Some people like public displays of affection, holding hands in public. Some people don't. Gifts. Now, gifts represent thoughtfulness and can be a gesture to show appreciation for your partner. And then the last but not least is acts of service. Acts of service involves doing things that help make life easier for your partner, cooking dinner, running errands, household chores. And I know for me, I am the acts of service. I really love it when my husband does things around the house. My husband, I know his primary love language is touch. So he likes hugs and he likes to be nurtured. And so we can remove the slide and have a little dialogue around the 5 love languages.
Love the 5 love languages. It's something that I would urge anyone and everyone to really take very, very seriously, because my love language is not necessarily going to be my wife's love language. And if I'm showering her with the love language I'm familiar with, it will be taken and I'm sure appreciated, but it's not going to fill her love cup. And this is something really key, and vice versa. So when we fill one another's love cups, the relationship is going to be far more dynamic and a lot smoother right across the board. And you find that you connect rather than disconnect. And it's quite an interesting scenario. One of our wonderful colleagues, Leanne, said many, many years ago when she was working in the healthcare industry, they brought this love language exercise into the workplace, and it works it's not just with our loved ones, obviously, it's with everybody that we come into contact with. And once we get to know people, and you can potentially ascertain their love language. And Leanne talked about at the end of the week, someone said, no one did anything for me. And one chap said, what? Every morning I came and put a cup of coffee down on your desk and a cookie. For her, that wasn't her love language. For him, it was an act of service. It was that act of service, that act of being kind, and but for her, that wasn't her love language. So there was a disconnect, and I suppose it's quite a simplistic example. But again, sorry to bang on, but many years ago, we had a colleague who joined the organization, and very quickly on, I realized what her love languages were. And by adhering to her love languages, the results, the energy, the commitment to the organization was just exemplary. It was extraordinary. So, yeah, I'd love you to expand on some of these areas there, Felisha.
Oh, absolutely. I look forward to doing that. So I mentioned my love language is acts of service. My husband's love language is touch, physical touch. And so we have this joke where I'll say, what's your love language? He'll say, hug me. And then he'll say, what's yours? And I say, take out the trash. And so the thing about it is, it's so important to have this understanding so that you can communicate with your partner what it is that you need. And even if, for example, quality time is your love language, quality time for me is also a love language. It's probably my number 2. The thing about love languages is when you take the quiz, you'll notice 1 will be primary. There'll be a second, third, fourth, and fifth. Even looking at the love language that does not rank as high in priority, that says a lot about what you need as well, or what you don't need. So gifts may be at the very end, touch may be at the very end, quality time might be at the very top. So I know this happened with a client of mine. She and her husband took the love language quiz, and they both had quality time. Great. One thing about quality time is quality time can be different, can mean something different to both people. And so she told me, it was funny. She says, well, we took the love language quiz and we had a disagreement about quality time. For me, she said, quality time is being together, connecting, no electronic devices. For her husband, it was, well, I'm sitting next to you on the couch. I'm just on my phone, but we're still together. That's quality time. And so what I expressed in this case is their ideas of quality times were different, but there can be a compromise. I don't believe that technology needs to be involved with quality time when you are connecting with your partner. But what I suggested to her is to let her husband know that if they are connecting and they are having quality time, if he is using his electronic device, that it is for the only reason why they should be doing that is maybe they're looking at pictures together. It should be an activity they're doing together or planning a trip. But there should be a connection while using that particular device because they are using it together. So that's the compromise. Again, my suggestion is that they don't use it at all. But it's just one of those things where you really have a great conversation, a deep conversation about what your love languages are, what they mean, especially if a person has touch as a low priority on their love language. That's something to think about. Is there something that maybe happened in the past that you don't like romance, that you don't like to be touched? Why is it not important? Let's have some discussions around this. And I do feel like that's a great way for people to deepen their connections just through communication and just having these open dialogues.
Absolutely. I mean, this is talking about these amazing 5 love languages. It's a deep subject, and there's wonderful material that I know that you deliver and share with people and really get them putting some proper flesh on the bone. But I think what I think is very clear in what you're sharing with everyone is that it's not just the love language, it's the mindfulness, it's the communication, and I think the old adage in life, it's timing is everything. And I think we really need to be very receptive of that and understanding of that, because again, we often disconnect because we're preoccupied, or we might have had a rough day, or something has rattled your cage, and you can be the most caring, loving, and thoughtful person, but we often are not consistent in doing that as well. So it is important that we find consistency on this journey.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I could talk about love languages for some time here, but I want to really speak to the importance of, if nothing else, knowing what we need, so that we can communicate this with our partner. And here is a scenario. And it's not necessarily a client scenario, but I've seen this, I've heard this time and time again. So you can have 2 people who have been married for years, let's just say 10 years. And the husband gets up every day, he goes to work and he jets out, and then he comes back and he's too tired to communicate or talk or anything because he's up and he's out. Well, the wife or the partner is upset about that because she says, you're not spending any quality time with me, or she's not using those words. What she's saying is you're never around, you're never here, you never do anything around the house. You leave me here to just do my own thing, for example. But what they're really trying to say is he leaves and he goes to work. He comes back home, he's tired, and they don't communicate. She's angry because she feels like he doesn't care about what goes on around the house with her and the children. And what it is he's not expressing to her, and maybe he doesn't realize that she does not show him affection. She does not, for example, his love language could be affirmations. She never tells him, thank you for going to work and providing for our family. Thank you so much for everything that you do in our household. He also might be a person who has physical touch as a love language, and he likes to be nurtured, and she's not very nurturing. He sees her as a nag, but really she sees him as distant and cold because he's always leaving, and she doesn't understand that he's leaving because she's not nurturing and kind, and she's always upset, and she doesn't give positive affirmation. But what he doesn't understand is all she wants him to do is help her around the house, connect with her, spend time. And so if they can communicate those needs instead of, for example, displaying passive aggressive behavior and not speaking at all, they can have a deeper connection, again, just through communication. And really, understanding your love language and understanding what it is that you need so that you can communicate that to your partner. I just think there's so many marriages that can become more healthy and even lasting. People actually get divorced over, I don't want to say it's simple, just not communicating what it is that they need. And a lot of times they just don't know.
Yeah. Well, we one thing, fortunately or unfortunately, we're not mind readers. And so you can't ever assume or take on, or I thought you were thinking X, Y, and Z, or I thought you felt. We can't do that. And that often comes out in our communication. And just going back to what you were sharing, and I found it hugely insightful, is that I know many people who have fallouts, whether it be in business or relationships, personal relationships, because they haven't made the time to properly, genuinely open up and communicate with one another. And we all know it's tough sometimes, we do. But if you, there's, what's the expression? If you handle the bear in the room, I think it's called, or whatever it is, and you deal with it accordingly. And I think this is where timing comes in to absolutely everything, is checking in with one another or booking a time and having a place that you both feel neutral in and comfortable in to communicate and connect. And as I said earlier, sometimes it can be a tough conversation to have. But one thing that I think we can all put into practice here is, if I don't do this, what is the worst? What's going to be the worst outcome, and what's the most likely, and what's the best outcome? And if you've got hopefully two people that really want to work at something and they're both reasonable about it, I truly believe that you can move forward in your relationship.
Oh, absolutely. And that's where communication is very key. I know that my husband and I, we communicate very well, but early in our relationship, he was a person who would get up early and go to work. It was not based on the scenario that I just gave. It's just that what was happening is I started feeling like he would get up at 8 o'clock. This is the example, 8 o'clock in the morning, needing to be at work at 9. So he only had enough time to shower, get dressed, jump in the car, head to work. And then when he came home, we hung out and we did things, but sometimes he was tired. But what we had this, we discussed this. And I said, there needs to be a way for us to connect where we can have this quality time together. You still get to work on time, and we have a connection to sort of just just discuss things around the home, just discuss life. And we came up with this great plan, and it's been 5 years. He gets up at 7, and we spend our first hour in the morning having coffee or tea and connecting and talking. And it has deepened our relationship, deepened our marriage so much. It's made such a difference because it just really allows us to just be together. And it's our favorite time of the day. We also have date nights at least once or twice a week. And that's great. And we don't have any small children. Our children are adults, but we still make it a point to just be together and be mindful and listen and talk. I just think it's so important to just be connected with your partner and communicate. I just love altogether.
Yeah, but as I sort of said in the beginning of this engagement today, is that everything takes effort. You can't just expect things to happen. It's about putting your best foot forward and making that effort. Everything in life, if you want to get anywhere in this world, you have to make an effort. That's the bottom line. And some people will just let their sleeping dog lie, and then it gets worse and worse and worse. And actually, I would love to share quite an amusing story. Well, I say it's amusing. And I'm not going to bring anyone into play here, but many years ago, a friend of ours was attending her grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary, and it was quite a big party, and they were saying to her grandfather, speech, and he looked around, he was like very hesitant, he stood up, and he turned around and he says, I think I've been married to the wrong woman for the last 50 years, and he sat down again. And he was genuine. He was actually being very serious. And I do believe that he was married to quite a hard battle axe, and he was he was very controlled through his relationship. But I mean, to have stuck around for 50 years in a bad relationship, I mean, time is too short, as we know. And sometimes, Felisha, to contradict what you and I love sharing and guiding people on, and is helping people have better relationships, and how do we show up. But sometimes we do happen to get it wrong in relationships, and one needs to sometimes take that on board and realize it. And you have to make a hard call, and in order to move forward with your life. So it's a double-edged sword sometimes.
It absolutely is. And I'm thrilled that you brought that up, because for me, this will be a transparent moment and hopefully a teaching moment for someone or many. To your exact point, I believe if you feel like you are in the wrong marriage, wrong partnership, particularly when you get to a certain level in life, a certain age in life, for example, in your 20s, you have a little time to try to figure it out, but you really should be mindful about if your needs are met, if you're happy. And if you're not, it is okay to walk away. And I say this because from my own experience, I was married 17 years. And what I saw, though, in that is, I hate to say this, I look back and I can say it now because I'm much more mature, but I, first of all, should not have married this person. Interestingly enough, we are very good friends today. He and my current husband are actually great friends. My husband and my husband, that's what I call him. But there was a significant age difference, for example, a 20-year age difference. And what happened was we grew apart. We just grew apart, and we grew in different directions. And as that was happening in the relationship, I knew I was feeling like, well, this is just not working. I'm an optimist. He's a pessimist. There were so many things wrong. But then, being young in my 20s, I always saw divorce as failure. And so I believe I stayed so long because I did not want to be looked at as a failure. And even though I wasn't happy, I knew, though, that I had to choose me. And so I would encourage people, you need to really think about what it is that you need. If you don't feel like you're growing in the relationship, if you don't feel like you're able to be yourself in the relationship, you need to then choose the relationship with yourself. You need to choose self-love and decide that this is not for you. So then I took that and knew that when I was going to get divorced, I was separated after 7 years, and thought, well, let me give this a chance. We got back together. And then, no, nothing changed. But I knew, I said, my next marriage, if I ever were to be married again, I told myself, this is what I need. This is the type of person I need. This is, okay, I'll be specific, man of faith. He needs to be nurturing. He needs to be closer to my age. All of these things in my mind, I feel like I know that I manifested. I literally manifested my husband. We're 3 years apart. He's nurturing. He's kind. He's a man of faith. Just genuine. I had no idea what he would look like, but it didn't matter. When we met, we knew we were for each other. And that's my love story.
And there's so much power in what you shared. I mean, I know you would have, you could really deepen that story a lot, Felisha. But it's manifestation, and it's like, with all due respect, oil and water don't mix. Really, at the end of the day, oil and water don't mix.
Yes.
And we can't just assume that because you're two human beings that you're just going to get on and connect. In the beginning, it's all fluff and fun and all that sort of thing, but it really is about sort of looking at how you do coordinate and connect. And I have a similar sort of story where I was married to an amazing woman, but the moment our first daughter came along, things changed a lot, and an incredible mum, but our relationship was teetering because we had disconnected, and she had become very focused on my beautiful eldest daughter, and I felt very alone in my own marriage. And we communicated pretty well, we showed up pretty well, but then we went for some counseling and we sort of reconnected, and then we found, okay, we think we're back on the straight and narrow again. And then Tabitha came along, and again, the similar sort of thing happened. And again, this is no blame on anything. And women take on too much in this world as it is. But again, going through quite serious postnatal depression was a big part of this that wasn't picked up. So there was a big disconnect, and I consider myself a caring and loving person, but in hindsight, maybe I just wasn't tendering to her love language, which I know now I wasn't potentially, or not even potentially, I wasn't. And hopefully and fortunately, I've grown and come a long way, and I've matured, and I've had lots of guidance and steering along the way through cognitive behavioral therapy and understanding how important our emotional intelligence is, how important our love languages are, how important it is to really engage with people at a much deeper level, and make that effort to help one another and support one another, and not to just think they will be okay and we can go off in our own direction. And as you said, we have that our lives, and often what happens is one of the partners outgrows the other partner because they actually are making an effort to develop and grow, and the other person is just complacent or very happy in their ways. Another thing that often happens is we stop making an effort with ourselves. We get, we with all just no disrespect to anybody, but you become a little bit overweight, you don't really care what you wear, you're not showing up like you used to show up, and all of a sudden things start to sort of fall apart at the seams. We've got to continue putting that petrol, diesel, gasoline in the fuel tank.
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100% with everything that you've said. I think that people who don't know themselves and who lack confidence, and it doesn't necessarily mean confidence in appearance. There are people who lack confidence in trusting they're trusting what it is that they need, trusting their top of mind. We tend to second guess ourselves quite a bit. A lot of time people don't take action because they're afraid of making the wrong decision. So they are not confident in what it is that they want to do, what it is that they desire. And I would love to see more people that are in relationships and they want those relationships to work, actually be confident enough to communicate, good or bad. If you're growing in a different direction, have that conversation too. Love is beautiful, but love can also be complicated. But love should not be compromising, if that makes sense.
Beautifully put. Absolutely. I don't have anything to sort of better that lovely term that you brought into play there, or that sentence you brought into play there. I know we've got some comments coming in from the chat. I wondered if Dr. Jacqueline, our producer, might be able to share with us. There, Dawn Chamberlain's coming in there. I love that.
Oh, Dawn, I love her. She's my best. I love her. That's like my best friend ever.
Dawn, thank you. Thank you so much.
She's in well, I don't know where she is now. She's always traveling, but Delaware. Dawn, anyway, I can't say enough about her. That is an amazing woman. Beautiful, strong marriage, wonderful. Just a beautiful person.
Oh, amazing. And think waving. All right.
I'm sorry. I love to smile. You'll see me smiling all the time. I'm a very happy person. I too, to that point, I believe that when we know who we are, it is so much easier to attract the things and the people that we desire in our lives. That includes relationships.
Completely.
I know. And I've mentioned, I may not have mentioned, but I will mention here, I was a teen mom. I had my daughter at 16, and her father and I did not remain. It's a story I won't get into, but I do know that in my early years, I lacked confidence. I did not believe that I deserved great things based on, the limiting beliefs that were set. But I know that when he was no longer in my life for 6 months, I attracted the wrong people. And there was this connection in me at 19 years old to to say that I deserve more, I am worthy, all of these words of affirmation. And in that time, I started believing in myself. I started my first business at 19, and then I just started attracting excellent mentors. I started attracting great people to me, people that loved me, friends, mentors, just romantic partnerships. And so I think that when we really know what we want and when we set our attention, we will attract the right people into our lives. But that also happens in marriages. You can be if you have confidence and if you are in a marriage and you want to keep that marriage healthy and strong, communicate with your partner, show up authentically, and they will also. And I think that you can certainly deepen the connection there by just really being consistent in who you are, confident in who you are. And that's just a game changer for me. I love this. I love it. I love the conversation. And maybe we can go to the final slide,
Sure.
which is to the point, effective communication. There's action steps that I have outlined. And I think that these will be great for people to take with them, just incorporate into their lives. The first action step is setting time aside to talk. We've had some great conversation, but here are some things to actually do. So regularly make time to have an open dialogue with your partner and discuss any issues. Over coffee or whatever the case may be. Discuss issues, but also just discuss connection. You know, there doesn't necessarily have to be issues that are discussed, but you do want to set time aside to actually talk regularly. The second thing is create a safe space and create that safe space free of judgment. And so make sure that both of you feel heard and respected during conversations by listening carefully and being mindful of language of choice. I think that that's so important. Language of choice is very important because I think people can totally lose interest in what you're saying if you say one thing that's negative. They've completely disconnected. The third thing is discuss difficult emotions. So pay attention to negative emotions such as frustration, anger, fear, and address them in a constructive manner. So constructive is the operative word here. It needs to be constructive. It should be, learning. Stay positive. Staying positive to the best of your ability. Try to focus on the positive points and the positive aspects rather than pointing fingers and discussing problems. And then the last thing is, and this is so important, take responsibility for your own actions. Be honest about how you're feeling and take responsibility for your own mistakes and how maybe you played a role in any disagreement. I think it's really quick. It's very important. It's sort of what you spoke about earlier today when you said that you apologized for how an incident turned out, but your partner quickly accepted the apology, but you took responsibility for your role in how things were, got a little sideways, Philip. I think you're muted. You're muted.
Thank you. And I love
Yeah.
sharing and just looking at that slide again, setting aside time to talk. For what it's worth, ladies and gentlemen, don't go out there on a date night and think now's the time to have a conversation about something that potentially could go the wrong way. Because timing, 150% timing is everything. Think it through. Is now an appropriate time? Is it going to go down well? Or are we in the wrong? Have we just got the wrong sort of scenario? We're having a candle at dinner. Now wouldn't be the right sort of time to bring that to light. So I think that is fundamental. That safe space, 100%. That safe space, going for a walk together, walking in the same direction together. That safe space of not necessarily airing your dirty laundry to anyone around you. So that is fundamental, and especially around your children. Children learn what they live as well. I did a post on this the other day, and I think that's fundamental. Monkey see, monkey do. If they see you, mum and dad, having a go at each other or partners, they're going to think that's, and they see it consistently and on an ongoing basis. They're going to feel that's okay. That's what a relationship is all about. And those difficult situations, they are difficult. They're not. They always will be a challenge. So again, that's where we 100% have to find the timing and check in with your partner. Is it okay to have a conversation with you now? Can we sit and talk for a bit? Is it convenient? Does it work for you right now? Or could you let me know when we could have a bit of time together? And then the staying positive, it's a great word, stay positive. That takes work. Surround yourself with good, amazing, as you said, Felisha, you were going down a very bad path in your life, and you realize going forward, and as you got a little bit more mature, you realize that if I don't start surrounding myself with positive people, with good people, with mentors, and having people that can guide you and steer you, and find tools that help you shift your mindset, and tools that give you that opportunity and energy that you might need. And we do have a bad day every now and then, so we might have to just push ourselves through that. But generally, there are incredible opportunities and tools and guides and coaches and mentors who can give you that pathway to maintain a positive outlook on life. And I think that apology is so important. Just a quick little story. I know we're running short of time. We've got a few more comments coming up. But it was just a few days ago on Monday, Kerry had to go up to a meeting in Birmingham, and she put in the wrong code. And so I phoned her and I said, "Are you there yet?" She said, "You won't believe it. It's taken me to the wrong place." I said, "Angel, did you put just the postcode in?" "No, I put the whole address." And I said, "Well, I would have suggested you put," and as I was saying, she doesn't need guidance and steering right now. That's not going to help the situation. And boom, I got it in both. I got both barrels. Boom. I realized right there and then that wasn't what she needed right there and then. It was more going down the route. Don't just take your time. Don't rush. You'll get there. You'll be okay. It better get there sort of unflustered. She was already flustered, as you can imagine. So yeah, we need to just slow down every now and then, and rather than every now and then, it's just really slow down. And sometimes it's that 6-second rule, sometimes it's 20 minutes, sometimes you have to sleep on something. So I just love those 5 points that you brought into play here.
Absolutely. And I love your 6-second rule. I learned that through the British School of Excellence, and I practice even on social media to the point. I actually had to post. I have lots of activity on social media. And I told my audience, this was so great. I said, be mindful of engaging with people who post negative comments on your social media. Just I didn't really say incorporate the 6-second rule, but pretty much I said rather than engage, just walk away, block and delete. Really, then you don't have to worry about it. Well, I broke my own rule. I had to put myself in timeout. I had someone. It wasn't even that serious, but I think that it was just one of those things that we have these triggers. And she said something, and then I did it. I engaged. I said something, and she came back, and then I came back, and I said, "Okay, see, this is what you get. Remember that 6-second rule. You failed." So I deleted the comment. I deleted her, and then I had this beautiful peace around me when I realized that not all battles are worth it, even in social media.
And no, absolutely. And with all due respect, whether we like it or not, we're not going to get on with everybody. There are going to be people that, no matter what you do in this world, no matter how kind and polite and blah, 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 there's something that person doesn't like about you. And that's when we do have to learn to walk away. And I'm not talking in our sort of direct relationships. I know we've got some comments coming through, and I'd love them to be shared, please. And I think there's quite a poignant question. There we go. That morning routine is unbelievable. Dawn, I love it. And funny enough, there's a comment that's going to come up. Why, one of the questions is how can we both make it look so easy. This is, yeah, it's not easy. This takes work. Everything in life is work, but you have to have a routine, and a positive routine. So for I know for you, again, Felisha, and something we advocate 150% is having a ritual of gratitude, bringing a lot of gratitude into your life, and understanding how privileged and fortunate we are. Just for example, the fact that I can pour myself this glass of water. And so I take myself on a gratitude journey, not just once a day, many times a day. And I start off with a gratitude journey, and I have that a morning ritual, 100%. My other morning ritual is going for a walk with this beautiful fur ball over here. She and I go for our morning walk, and we, I go through a mindset thing, and I make sure, even if I've started the day feeling a bit tired, or even maybe slightly negative, because maybe I've got a lot on my plate, I'm looking at everything like it's a tidal wave, and I just go and I just talk to myself, and there's so many tools out there that we can absolutely, but it's not a case of it comes easy. It's and when I say it takes work, it's not work that you feel exhausted and exasperated over. It's work that actually gives you such beautiful benefits and results.
Yes, it's to me, it really is about knowing yourself. And I love what you said, Philip, the gratitude. I have to say, I lead with this. More gratitude, less attitude. I don't have attitude typically. I don't have attitude at all, but that's just the thing. I think that people should live with more gratitude, less attitude. And the attitude piece is just more about just what people think, what life is so hard, this and that. We should be grateful for how we've learned, how we've grown. And you mentioned, Philip, that it takes work. If we make it sound easy, it's because we're having a conversation about it. But we're having a conversation about experiences that we've gone through and have grown through, if that makes sense. We've learned. And so you learn, and you learn in being better. That's how it might seem easy, but the journey is never easy. The journey, though, if you're not learning, you're not growing. And I know for me, I am so grateful for my journey. I am so grateful for the tough, the difficult times and the great times. Those are my blessings. And I see it as that every single day. So I live in gratitude. Marriage is work. Love is work. Having friendships is work. But it's a beautiful journey. You learn along the way.
Just so beautifully put. Everything is about relational capital. You've got to put that relationship capital into everything, because as I've always shared, and we have a chuckle about this, you cannot stand on the top of the hill hoping a duck's going to fly into your mouth with your mouth. It's not going to happen, right?
I love that.
You have to go and find that, no disrespect to the poor duck, but you're going to have to shoot that duck out of the sky, take the feathers off and put in the pots, and that is really it. We've got choices in this world. How do we choose to show up? And we can look back. We can absolutely look back at the past and talk about the past, but that's not going to get us anywhere. And funny enough, we talk about beautiful words of affirmation and that sort of thing, and really genuinely going on that gratitude journey. But every morning I wake up and I find a positive passage to read to myself. And this one this morning was brilliant, because it said, "Those who spend their lives searching for happiness never find it. Those who search for meaning, purpose, and strong personal relationships find that happiness usually comes to them as a byproduct of those three things."
I love that. Oh, I love that. Can you share that in the chat?
Absolutely. I will share.
That's wonderful. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
And I know I know we could keep going, but I know we've got a few little announcements that we would love to share, a few offers that I know Felisha's very kindly put together, and we at the British School of Excellence have put together. So if Dr. Jacqueline, if our producer can, share these, for those who are listening on radio, 15% discount of private coaching session with myself, and 10% off an e-learning program. We've got some really wonderful e-learning programs on our platform. And then if we go to the second one, a wonderful couples communication personality assessment. Again, this will be delivered and offered by Felisha. And then a free gift from Felisha K, which is obviously going down that route, and keys to attracting abundance, so that you can, be able to really find your direction in life and find what really helps and counts for you in this world and how you can move forward. So I think it's fundamental.
Absolutely. Philip, I think we need a part two here. We need to do a part two. This has been absolutely incredible. I've had an amazing time, and talking about love is, I just think, special, and helping people deepen relationships, even if it's with themselves. I believe quality love is an inside job, and how we reflect that out into the world and into with our partners. That is so important. I hope we can do this again soon.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I'm just typing this up. So if you've got any few little things to share further, I'm just going to type this little quote up. And if maybe you could just round off with 2 or 3 really dynamic bits of guidance and steering, that would be amazing.
Well, I have a quote. It's more so my motto. So I will say this. One of the things I often say is, we must value ourselves at the highest level in life and in love. And what that means is, live authentically and know that you are worthy, you are wonderful, and you deserve all great things. And so keep that in mind. There is a link to my website and my free gift, which is 3 keys to attracting abundance. But it also, in receiving that free gift, you'll be added to my mailing list, where you'll receive my newsletter, and you can stay involved with the things that I have coming up, the things that I'm doing. Even events like this beautiful event with the British School of Excellence. I just have to say, just value yourself. You are worthy. I believe in you. I believe in love. And even if you are just simply on this self-love journey, stay there and live in gratitude.
I just love that. That is such beautiful guidance and steering. And going back to making an effort, I'm very fortunate that most of you, or all of you, have obviously gathered that I was fortunate enough to remarry, and I've got a beautiful little 8-year-old Hardy. And it is an incredible journey. And is it all plain sailing? Absolutely not. But I was actually in one of our little card shops the other day, getting a Valentine's card for Kerry and that sort of thing, and buying one for Hardy to give to his mum. And I came across this lovely little tokens for my loved ones. And in here, there's a token, a picnic in the park, or cocktail party for 2, or you're invited to a BFF catch up with tea and cake, or tickets to a comedy show. And it's just gorgeous. You can, put these little tokens in their diary, if they've got a paper diary, or under the pillow or something like that, movie night of your choice. And it is about sort of finding these little hooks and tools, because if you think about it, when we're first courting, you're pulling all the bells up, flowers arrive and dinner. And so last night I nipped off to go and pick up some groceries, and I had to buy but I felt I had to bring some flowers home, because I know Kerry loves flowers, but it's something that it revs her motor. She appreciates that. And I think these are the things that are fundamental. And just before you have the final word, I'd love to just share something with all of you out there. And this comes from that wonderful film, Captain Corelli's Mandolin. And it really is very apt in what we're talking. It goes along the lines of, love is a temporary madness. It erupts like a volcano, and then it subsides. And when it subsides, you have to make a decision. You have to work out whether your roots have so entwined together that it is inconceivable that you should ever be apart. Because this is what love is. Love is not breathlessness. It's not excitement. It's not the promulgation of eternal passion. That is just being in love, which any fool can do. Love itself is what is left over when being in love has burnt away. And this is both an art and a fortunate accident. Those that truly love have roots that grow towards each other underground. And when all the pretty blossoms have fallen from their branches, they find that they are one tree and not two. And I just think that's very apt for what we've been focusing on today. So I hope you can take that away. It's from Captain Corelli's Mandolin. I will share it on one of our socials and on our website. And I'd love Felisha to come back into the room and just bid everyone farewell, and we're going to be doing this again in the near future again, Felisha.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. And I would suggest everyone who's watching and who may watch in the future, pick up the phone, reach out to someone that you've not spoken to in a while, and let them know that you're thinking of them. I just think that's just so special.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me. Great to be with you all.
Phone call, effort of a phone call. We can send a text, but it's not the same as saying, hey, thought of you the other day. Saw X, Y, Z about that. You just pops into my mind. Just want to see how you're doing. It is so powerful.
Absolutely.
And a huge thank you to everybody for making the effort and time to engage and connect with us. I do pray and hope that you got some wonderful, not tips or tricks, some proper tools and some genuine skills that have been shared with you on this journey we've had together in this hour episode. And to Felisha K, all the way from the beautiful part of Colorado, thank you so much for making the time and effort and giving us your undivided attention. And not only that, your wonderful knowledge that you shared with us here tonight and today.
Thank you very much, Philip. Great to be here. Great to be with you.
Take care.
Take care.